everybody. It's the Media Beat. Yeah, where did that come from? Number 85 with Maureen and Claire. And this one's, it's going to be a goodie. The deep dive today is something that I don't really understand. So, I mean, one of those, great, teach me something modes. Come to that in a minute. We're also talking, obviously, about Netflix and Warner Brothers Digital. Spotify Wrapped came out. I suppose everybody knows that. This game, my age is what? It's crazy. Vertical dramas. We'll talk about. The latest genre of movie, which is the Ping Pong Spectacular with Timothée Chalamet, starring in a surprisingly engaging movie, and how that's being advertised. The new Oxford Word of the Year will be revealing, for those of you who don't know it. And Quentin Tarantino has been shooting his goddamn mouth off a little bit there, and we'll probably have a little chat about that as well. But quickly now, sometimes Claire and Maureen come up with things and you go, I can imagine what that is, but I'm not 100% sure. And they say, we're having a deep dive, and you go, oh, good, we're having a deep dive. I'll find out a little bit more. So this is Claire's starter, but I know Maureen has a lot to say about it. And the phrase is creator economy, the creator economy. You can imagine what it is, but now you're going to have the definitive Oxford definition now, or maybe the Sarbon definition now from Claire. So, Claire, without further ado, the creator economy, what is it? What does it mean to you? Describe. Deep dive.
Deep dive. I thought it would be appropriate, actually, that we cover the creator economy, since we are now, this is a plug, on video. For those of you who would like to see us as well as listen to us, we're on YouTube. We were on YouTube with audio only, and we're now on YouTube with our beautiful or not beautiful faces as well. So if you want to see what a Podmoji looks like in real life, please join our YouTube channel and watch the video version of us, because we are now creators in the creator economy. So what is the creator economy? It's the ecosystem of independent online content creators, including also the platform they use and the tools and the brands that enable them to earn money and money they earn. I'm going to give you a few stats to dazzle you, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the history, some of the trends, and then hand over to Maureen to look at the future of the creator economy. So, basically the creator economy includes anybody who monetizes, that does rule us out. But anyway, anybody who monetizes content across video, audio, text, live streaming, and game. But when people talk about it, they tend to think about it in terms of YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Patreon, Substack, potentially, and others. Revenue streams include advertising revenues, brand, influencer marketing, subscription, membership, tipping, and increasingly social commerce and merchandise. The size of the creator economy is probably around $200 billion. So we're not talking about a small segment of the market. It could be even as high as $250 billion. The problem is the definition is sort of vague, so it's kind of hard. It depends on what you count. Everybody expects it to basically double by 2027. So it's definitely growing very, very fast. And there are some longer range projections that talk about it reaching over $1 trillion by the early 2030s, which I tell you what, are not that far off. So anyway, we're talking about a very, very large market, which is growing very fast. Now, it's also a very diverse market. We're talking about possibly about 200 million active content creators globally. That's a lot of people, but only about 4%, possibly less, earn more than $100,000 per year. So actually, it's a very long tail of online creators, and most people do it as people in other generations might say, a side hustle. Although some creators are making a lot of money out of it. Now, where does that come from? Well, the earliest examples, I think, are probably on MySpace, and they tended to be around music. And in fact, the creator economy, a lot of their big successes in early years was around music. So on MySpace, got a few big stars that started on MySpace: Calvin Harris, Adele, Arctic Monkey. Those are people who posted on MySpace and then got, fans posted, and then they got discovered and they signed up with big labels. Then YouTube arrived, and YouTube was very, very much into promoting the creator economy and this whole generation of YouTubers arrived. And in the UK, we had Zoella and various other people who became, huge, and turned vlogging into a full-time career, brand deals, product lines, etc. A lot of kids content also in these early years, and increasingly, which again was a very, very big part of the industry. So that's where we are now. YouTube is still a very, very large part of the ecosystem. In fact, of the money that is made on the creator economy, about three-quarters of it comes from YouTube, which still is the platform that monetizes best in terms of creators. Doesn't mean that TikTok or others don't make as much money. It just means that YouTube is actually, to be fair to them, better at monetizing them. Better at sharing the revenues with the creators. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about something that really has always existed, but has exploded with the creator economy. And it's something that was a word of the year as well, which is the parasocial relationships. And parasocial relationships are one-sided relationships where you absolutely adore a celebrity and you think they're your best friends, or perhaps you're married to them, but actually they don't know who you are. And of course, if you think about Beatlemania and some of these things, it's always existed. But vloggers, YouTubers, and this whole creator economy have put that parasocial relationship really in the forefront. They've created a world where, if you go up and you watch a Mr. Beast video, for instance, you will feel like this is your best friend for an hour. And it fills a need for a lot of people, and that's brilliant. In fact, those channels have exploded during lockdown where people felt very lonely. But it also drives exceptional marketing performance because you can sell people stuff when they really believe that you're their best friend. And that's one of the things that's happening increasingly, is that those influencers are becoming shops and are selling various things, and also that they are selling political ideas. So a lot of these creators have becoming political influencers as well, mobilizing audiences for campaigns, fundraising, etc., which is interesting because it's something that traditional politicians are really struggling to deal with and understand how to monetize. So that's parasocial. I wanted finally to talk a little bit about the relationship between that creator economy and mainstream media. It's been a bit tricky. So there are exceptions. Music stars have, from the beginning of the creator economy, music stars have been discovered online. I've mentioned some of the MySpace people, but on YouTube, I guess the biggest name is probably Justin Bieber, who was discovered on YouTube. But there are many, many others. Kids brands absolutely created on YouTube and then moved on to Netflix, etc., and created, huge empires of merchandise. Everything else has become a little bit harder. So a lot of problems is a lot of the YouTubers or other content creators who've tried to launch a show on Netflix or Amazon have found it very hard to relinquish editorial control, for instance, because obviously when you're a YouTuber, you control absolutely everything. That's not the case in a lot of traditional media. And they also have found it quite difficult to deal with the structure of the long-form content, although some of these creators create very long-form content. The structured long-form content of traditional media has not been necessarily something that they've been very comfortable with. There's been a lot of attempt. The most famous or famously doomed is probably Disney's acquisition of Maker Studios for $500 million. And then they immediately proceeded to basically drive it to the ground. I think in about 12 months it was gone. So it's a very difficult and tense relationship. It hasn't quite worked. They haven't figured it out. Might change in the future, but not yet. That's, I think, in a nutshell, what I wanted to talk about in terms of creator economy. Maureen, what did you think?
Well, thanks, Claire. I think that's a brilliant walkthrough, as ever. Your famous deep dives of how we got to here. So I think I'm just going to spend a few minutes to really sort of take us on to where we think that we're heading in terms of a creator economy, and I think it's a genuinely new phase as you're sort of set the ground there for Claire. I think it's bigger. I think it's more global, and I think it's more AI native. And of course, I would say that, but frankly, we're seeing this. It's maturing into something that increasingly looks like an actual industry rather than a loose ecosystem. So I think one of the dominant shifts, though, clearly is, and I think you'll attest to this, Claire, it's the rise of the creator-led company. So it's
Yeah.
not the creators with channels, but it's the creators with P&Ls. So of course you referred to, Claire, Mr. Beast. Well, he isn't just a YouTuber. He's running Feastables, a snack business with real distribution. Or we've also got Emma Chamberlain, who's turned her Chamberlain coffee into a lifestyle brand. And then of course Rhett and Link, just to name a third one here, effectively running a multi-vertical studio. So I think the center of gravity is moving from individual influence to owned IP, commerce extensions, and really the proper long-term franchises. And I think that's where the direction of travel is. I think, as you've rightly pointed out, the platforms are definitely reinforcing this shift that we're seeing. So YouTube now positions creators as the primary growth engine. You've got TikTok also with the creator marketplace, and that's now in full swing as an ad tech layer. And then of course Snap is absolutely brilliant at continuing to develop the sort of monetization tools for mid-tier creators. I think Meta is also trying to sort of get into the fray there, more so, but they're trying to own the creator operating systems. So they provide all the analytics. They're also starting to provide the AI production features and, of course, the full funnel monetization. So this is, as you said, Claire, it's an ecosystem that's professionalizing at speed. And then I think if you overlay then what's happening with AI, you can't ignore it. Creators are adopting AI faster than traditional media. We can see that all of the time. And that's probably due to the incentives that line up perfectly for a creator and a creator ecosystem. Lower costs, higher
I,
output.
I have a stat for you, Maureen.
Tell me.
87% of creators now use AI tools for editing, script validation.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
yes, you're right. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. And it also gets their ability to scale faster without them hiring the bigger teams, because you know they can't afford to do that, or they don't want to do that. And I love what they're using, and I guess as part of that stat, Claire, you'll see Runway in there, you'll see Pika in there, which really does let all the creators generate. In my view, what I'm seeing, cinematic style video assets in minutes. My favorite at the moment that you're seeing really embed into the workflows of these creators is Adobe Firefly. It's there for design and production workflows. And of course, 11 Labs or Respeecher, that's really helping with the multilingual voice dubbing, where they can then push that out to the non-English markets. So I think it's phenomenal that we see. You mentioned TikTok Symphony. As a product also is essentially automating the entire workflow from ideation to editing to the ads. So incredible. But with all this, and of course there's significant scale, comes regulation. And of course we would be we would be it would be inappropriate for us not to mention regulation. It is fully catching, well, finally, let's say it is trying to catch up, it is catching up. And I think this will be the biggest theme in the next couple of years. We'll see stronger requirements for transparency, not only in the labeling of the use of AI, but AI, let's say, related or altered content, and AI, of course, fully AI generated content. We've also got the likeness protection issues. And what I think is fantastic is YouTube is really stepping up, and it's already launched an AI likeness detection tool so that creators can request takedowns of deepfakes or indeed unauthorized AI. And then, of course, we'd be remiss without talking about child safety and the advertising rules. Of course, the rules around kids' content will tighten for sure. So rights and IP ownership in AI-generated assets are still largely quite unsettled, but we are starting to see Adobe, Google, OpenAI looking specifically at indemnification, which I think is really appropriate, and the legal framework, so it's slightly lagging behind. They will be catching up. So I think the creator economy just appeared albeit over a decade, it appeared in a regulatory grey zone. So no one's to blame here. But I'm reckoning, and I think, Claire, you're nodding your head, that we'll move into more accountable, it's more obligations that are both on the platforms and on the creators. So to sum up, I think the future is going to look like creators will be really operating as fully fledged media companies. AI is becoming the default, 87%, production toolkit. Platforms competing, I think, with the creator operator, or platforms basically trying to get the operating systems in place, and it will be global. And I think clearly the regulatory edges will start to smooth out those sort of, or help with the sort of fluidness that we've seen in the past. But I think we've gone beyond webcams in bedrooms to AI enhanced media companies. And I think that in a decade. So honestly, Claire, I think where we'll probably see the next major entertainment brand emerge will not be from Hollywood, but it'll be from the creator environment with their laptops, with a point of view, and in an AI powered studio. So that's my sort of prediction for the next couple of years.
And I think you could argue that's happened already, because
Yeah.
you've talked about Mr. Beast, and that is, in effect, that's what he's done. I completely agree with you. It's interesting that 10 years ago, I was running a YouTuber studio, and we were already talking about the fact that the legal framework needed to be tightened up. And it's tricky because it's a global market, and there isn't really a mechanism to deal with legislation on a global front. But yes, I think there are definitely issues to be looked at. The labor conditions on some of the shoots are a bit, they're not really part of any discussion. There is a lot of lack of transparency on the platform side in terms of how the algorithm really works, in terms of the revenue share. I mean, again, YouTube and probably TikTok second, or absolutely TikTok second, lead the way, but Meta's not been good at sharing revenues or even discussing revenue shares. So I think there's a lot there up in the air that will need to be cleared up and clarified. But yes, I think it was huge 10 years ago, and it's even bigger now, and it's going in that direction. And it's exciting because it's creators who are finding a platform where they can actually create without any intermediaries. So I'm all for it.
But with that comes a lot of exploitation, people sitting down, like me, of course, in very cold cellars, working for nothing, as a project, just because they love doing it. I can see that the conditions of some of us working, it's very democratic, but with democracy sometimes comes anarchy, and people are very much exploited. I hear that.
Do you feel that? Do you feel that, Oliver?
Oliver.
Listen, for Christmas, I will knit you a scarf.
Okay, no, I'll take it. I've got my little. Actually, it's great being on video, isn't it?
And
right.
Oliver, this is a labour of love for you. I know
it is a labour of love.
It is a labour of love.
Remember that.
Yeah,
never forget that.
And as I crawl towards the 4%, starting at the 0%, but no. Of course, it's a labour of love. I would never not do this. It's absolutely wonderful, and that deep dive was sensational. I can't use any other word. So that was brilliant. Really, really good. Really, really clear. I get it. There's some subtleties about it I didn't really get, but like you say, I love the democracy about it, and the popular stuff rises to the top. But then Maureen came in with that cautionary note about we don't want an anarchy in an exploitative universe, and also horrible things being put out there. So that was great. Loved it. Lots to learn. Rewind and listen to that again. As a podcaster of over 6 years now, we're doing it. And we're nearly 4 years on this one. We should have an anniversary. We normally celebrate our anniversary in April. Okay, so that's put a lid on that. A wonderful deep dive. You know what the creator economy is, was, and will be, which means we move on to what's happening right now in the media world within the news. Okay, so Maureen is, again, she's now actually moved into a hotel near Netflix headquarters because this story is running and running. We've got something to say about it. There was an exchange between Maureen and Claire in the week where I think you used the word getting juicy. That's 2 words. And of course, I'm referring to Netflix and WBD. Maureen has the latest. Maureen?
Oh gosh, yeah. So the Warner Brothers Discovery, Claire, we've been talking about this for beyond 5 years now. So it's back and forth and back and forth. But this week was genuinely historic. We're in now historic territory. So
Is that beyond juicy? So historic is beyond
it's beyond
juicy.
juicy. Juicy is
Good
just
Lord.
yesteryear. Yesteryear. That's
Yeah.
last week's news. That's last night's news. So Netflix has, and we have to underscore this word, reportedly come in and offered, so written a big check for Warner Brothers Discovery to the tune of 72 billion. And that, of course, is for Warner Brothers Discovery, in case people didn't realize what it was going to try to buy. And that is a part of this is the valuation of just simply the film business and HBO. So the whole business has an enterprise value of around 83. So you can do the math yourself as to what is the legacy business worth in that regard. But the reason that this is stunning, the reason this is juicy, the reason this is historic is because Netflix has agreed to pay Warner Brothers 5.8 billion if the deal collapses or fails to gain regulatory approval. So to put that in context, that's 8% of the deal's equity value. Now, the industry average last year was about 2.4%, according to Houlihan Lokey, on breakup fees. So this is staggering. But what it really means in terms of, for lay people, for us, this is a signal of confidence. Netflix is essentially telling the market, we believe we can get this deal through the global antitrust, and we're willing to stake nearly $6 billion on that belief. So the structure to Warner Brothers' side is equally notable. If Warner's own shareholders vote the deal down, so they say, no, we're not taking this, $72 billion, Warner Brothers will need to pay Netflix 2.8 billion as a reverse fee. So the monies here are staggering. But anyway, so if Warner Brothers accepts a rival offer as well, say from Comcast or say from Paramount Skydance, they would need to pay that 2.8 billion. So the odds are stacking probably towards a Netflix in terms of perhaps getting this through. We would assume. But anyway, Netflix has effectively ring-fenced its bid and financial penalties that will make the process harder and harder for competitors to disrupt. It's worth remembering, seriously, that these breakup fees are staggeringly high and extremely rare. So another reason this matters and why it's juicy is it changes the governance conversation. So investors really do like this sign of conviction by Netflix. And basically analysts, though, are saying, but what about the fiduciary duty? What about the fact that, if you give exclusivity to Netflix, it means you are not allowing an open auction. And for a listed business, you ought to be given an open auction. You ought to be getting as many people in the fray as possible in order to get a higher price, in order to get the right price, in order to get the right deal. So this brings us on to Paramount and Skydance. David Ellison is raging, and he's absolutely raging, and reportedly expressed concerns that the playing field needs to be consistent. Last year, you heard Claire and me talking specifically about how his own deal with Paramount was dragging on and on and on. And that's because regulatory scrutiny was applied to his own deal. He's saying that's unfair. Why is it that Netflix is not being looked at? Why is it the fiduciary duty of the board is not being taken seriously? So anyway, I'll fast forward. The market is up in arms generally from a competitor's point of view. Sony is probably slightly worried because if you have Netflix and Warner Brothers with the best catalog inside one house, that is going to possibly disrupt, say, Sony Switzerland proposition and market position, in that it sells everyone's shows that might not necessarily be available to them. Comcast similarly, is fearing this as a significant play, and of course Paramount, as we know. So all in all, it is juicy. It does have a governance issue. There could potentially be a regulatory factor to take into account. The deal is not done, and yet I think 2 days ago, I received an email from Netflix. I'm a subscriber, of course, saying to me, by the way, we'll be having and hosting HBO shows and we will own Warner's films. So just hold tight. And in 2026, you'll get access to these. So that's either clever marketing or very confident in its buying ability to secure this particular deal. So that's the gossip. There's some facts in there as well. And I think watch this space because it ain't over yet. Claire, I mean, wow.
I mean,
What a
I have a scoop for you, Maureen. But before that, I just wanted to say, build up the tension. Just wanted to say, I was wondering why Netflix did bid, because we talked about it and we didn't think it was going to bid. So this came as a surprise. The most analysts and observers had decided that Netflix wasn't. It's not something they've done in the past. I think they're doing it because they're worried that they're going to be locked out of library content completely. And that it's a survival issue for them. They need content. They cannot rely on only their own content. They need library content, and this gives them enormous access. But also, it's kind of the last asset on the block in terms of making sure they get the big libraries of content. Yes. So my scoop, Maureen, is that as we are recording this, Paramount has just announced that they're making a hostile bid for Warner Brothers Discovery for $108 billion, including debt. And it's so $30 per share in cash. I mean, they have the money, I guess. The Ellisons have the money. And it says that this is completely supporting your point, Maureen. It said that it was going to shareholders because the board of Warner Brothers Discovery is pursuing an inferior proposal that would lead to a challenging regulatory approval process. Meanwhile, the Ellisons have also complained to Donald Trump, which is an interesting way of dealing with the regulatory approval process. So yes, who knows? Who knows? I think it is still very much up in the air. I did also receive the email from Netflix, as did, I'm assuming, all the subscribers. And I thought it was partly to quell any concerns that people might have because it was so widely reported in the news, and partly a very strong sign of confidence. But I don't think it's a done deal yet.
And I would go back to Claire, our predictions, which we'll be doing in our next episode anyway. I still believe that the Ellisons will get this. I still believe Paramount and Skydance have such a significantly higher chance of getting this deal done and across the line. And I'm so glad that you've said that they've inched up over the $30 per share. And don't forget, this is for the whole. This is for the whole. So shareholders need to take this seriously, whereas Netflix is only asking for a part of it, which is run by David Zaslav. So, there's a lot of rumors out there that the two Davids don't get on very well. And then frankly, maybe post-deal, one of the Davids may not have a job afterwards. Whereas if he goes towards Netflix, maybe he does have a role to play. So, so I think the fiduciary duty one is a significant one here. And I think, and I wasn't surprised that David Ellison has now gone straight to the shareholders to say, you need to take our bid seriously. But that could also be the ploy, knowing full well that this could come because that breakup fee and the request for exclusivity has not been granted yet to Netflix. So there's no breakup
maybe
fee
discussion. Maybe that was the whole plan. Maybe it was a double bluff, in which case, well done him, I guess.
Well done him. Brilliant deal. Brilliant deal maker. Brilliant deal
Yeah.
maker.
Wowzers. And you also have a title for your stocking filler book that you're going to write, Maureen. So Beyond Juicy.
Beyond Juicy.
Get the boss. Yeah. So a breaking news story, a breaking live news story as well on something that even the media beat didn't predict, which is extraordinary because our predictions are well known to be very close to 100%.
And Oliver, what I may do then, what I may put into your stocking filler as well as Claire's is a pair of Penny's pants with Juicy written on it.
Yummy.
And you know what Penny's pants are? Penny's bottoms are Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
very good reference. I like that. Excellent.
Very appropriate description, I think.
Excellent. All right,
I'm looking forward to.
We'll have a team picture with those on. Let's move on. All right.
Oh, good Lord! Damn you, YouTube. So that's good. Very good. Yes, lovely. Good gosh. Moving on. We mentioned it before. The Spotify Wrapped. We've got to talk about it. Claire, how was yours?
Oh, mine was excellent. Thank you very much. I'm a youthful 75 years old.
How old?
How old?
75. Apparently, I listen to
Oh,
really
you're
old
gonna
music. How old are you guys?
you must be listening
Really?
to Frank Sinatra, Akabilk,
I'm
Charles
20.
Aznavour.
Yeah,
I'm
I think.
23, apparently.
Oh
23.
my God, you're
23.
23.
I
Paul
Yeah,
didn't
that's
Taylor.
very
understand that.
impressive. I
Paul
I'm
feel
very
like
Taylor.
the
surprised.
fact that I occasionally listen to Bach, Brandenburger concertos has sort of skewed my numbers a little bit. But what about you, Oliver? Where were you?
I was at 48, which I can deal
Oh,
with.
well, that's
Not
that
really
you
the
can deal
age
with that. Yeah,
closest
no,
to that where I am.
75. My son was at 81,
Cool.
so whatever. Listen, the fact that we're having this conversation shows how clever, how incredibly clever this whole listening age addition to Spotify Wrapped was. Spotify Wrapped 2025 achieved record engagement. They reached 200 million users in the first 24 hours, which is a 19% increase on last year, and 500 million shares. I can give you the stat. Bad Bunny was the biggest artist, followed by Taylor Swift. Top song was Die With a Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. And then there were lots of great podcasts, but the Joe Rogan Experience for some reason was the top. I'm not sure about that. And audiobooks was also suddenly a big thing. But the thing that people got hung up about was listening age. Nobody really understands. They did release the formula. I don't understand it. But I'm an old soul. That's what it was. Anyway, memes were created within seconds, and they were all excellent. And if you don't believe me, go on TikTok or go like old people like me on Instagram to watch TikTok videos, and you will see them. A big one was Judy Dench shouting at Kate Blanchett, "You are old. I'm just trying to help," which I've now got as my ringtone. But yes, a very big viral moment for Spotify. Very well managed. There was some criticism last year that their rap had become very led by AI focused, and this was a human intervention. So human and AI is always superior. There was clearly some really good human intervention there. We did Spotify last week as a deep dive. If anybody wants to go check it out, because we went through the history of the company, but a big success for them. They will be very pleased with those numbers.
Oh, talking about numbers, the majority of our listeners last week listened on the video, and so saw as well. So they weren't just listeners.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
more than
good.
50%.
Let's wave. Let's
Yeah,
wave at them. Give
yeah.
them another incentive to watch.
If there's less this week, it'll be like, ooh, disappointed by what they saw. Sorry, Maureen, have we given you enough time to talk about Spotify Wrapped? Just to say
You,
that you were very young.
you. That's all I need to talk about.
Yeah,
I'm so
23 years
surprised.
old, all the Taylor.
I
3.
couldn't believe I was
Gosh.
23. I really don't understand. And mine is neoclassical, and I listened to Olifor. Olifor was Olifor. My
Oh,
top
yeah.
artist. My top artist. So I don't know why that's the age 23.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I was Fontaine's DC, so I thought I'm going to be really young and funky. 48. Anyway.
I was dried up by listening to the Beatles when I was in Liverpool. So that's really bad.
Right, no, that is,
Anyway.
yeah. The Beatles and classical music. No. And
Anyways.
finally, yes, we have some news regarding vertical dramas, Maureen. You have that story.
we do so vertical dramas. We've spoken about micro dramas on the previous episode, but Claire and I were at Content London this week, and they dedicated an entire afternoon to talk about micro dramas, and they had various companies on stage. They had various creators on stage as well. So it's fascinating to look at the economics. I'm not going to go through the economics because I think we did touch on this once before. But what I found fascinating was it seems to be quickly. It's still very young. So undeniably, this format is still very, very, very young. But it's already doing something I think television took decades to figure out. It's building a functioning talent economy. That's what I think is really fascinating. And the audience is absolutely real. There is an overwhelmingly interesting demographic. It happens to be 25 to 55-year-old women. A lot of them are sort
Well,
of
I'm
coming
out because I'm
you're
75. But
you're
yes,
you're
good.
I'm out as well. I'm 23. So yeah.
Well, that's
I'm for women, so
Highly,
we're all out.
and you're a man, Oliver. So
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
so that's why.
that's why. Look, they're highly engaged and they're incredibly loyal to the show and the actors, and we're seeing this emergence of recognizable vertical drama stars. So people like Nick Westaway amazing. Evan Matrick and Cayman Cardiff, Jackson Tiller, to name just a few of them. 3 years ago, they were working across completely different parts of the industry. I think one of them, probably Cayman Cardiff, wasn't even, I think he was studying, So absolutely incredible that they are now influencing budgets. They're influencing pacing of these. And as just a quick sort of reminder, this is these sort of episodes that run from 50 to 70, maybe even episodes per sort of say season, and they're only 2 minutes per ep on average, and costs around about 150 to 200,000 K. So you can get a flavour of the quality here. But this talent pool is influencing budgets, pacing, marketing, and even platform acquisition strategies. So they're becoming the face of this new entertainment lane. Of course, the performances, oh my gosh, it's not traditional TV acting, it's not influencer content, it's something in between. So it's quite high intensity, emotional beats delivered in these 45 seconds to a minute arcs. Writers and directors are adapting to it really quickly, and audiences are responding instantly. I think the fan communities are also getting involved. Jen, who does vertical drama, love drama, she helps, I think, almost corral the fans' thoughts and feelings, and then sends that and influences the script writing. So it's incredible. So I think we've gone from smaller, low quality to now an amazing ecosystem. You've even got Pixar alumni in there, Bollywood writers in there, Korean short form specialists, all in there. This craft is fascinating, and I think the audience behavior looks surprisingly stable as well. So I was fascinating to see how it's maturing faster than anyone expected, and it was really great to see Content London showcasing this week. But yeah, Claire, vertical dramas, an interesting format.
Yeah, I'm just going to say China is still about 85% of the market there. It remains relatively minor outside of China. A lot of the big numbers that people talk about are because China is 85% of the market and its subscription numbers in China. Now, I'm not saying that's to be sniffed at, because those are big numbers. They're talking about $9 billion this year in terms of total revenues. But it is one of these things that is very, very concentrated in one market and has a cultural aspect to it. And yes, it's taken off in small ways in other markets, but sometimes these things work and sometimes they sort of, they just don't happen. So I'm not entirely sure this will take over the world. I kind of don't want it to, if I'm honest, because, with my listening age of 75, you can imagine vertical drama is way, too extreme for me. And you're absolutely right. I know people in that demographic who follow them. There's clearly a deep fandom. Will it ever become the sort of mainstream content that people are hoping it will? I personally am not sure. I think there's a very, very strong cultural Chinese element in it, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But if I had to predict, which will, as you say, we will definitely do in our prediction episode, I'm less bullish than you on vertical drama.
So I'm going to add one other thing to that, yeah, and I think I'm probably more in the bullish camp than you, Claire, and I think it's absolutely fair what you're saying as well. I think it is splitting, it's bifurcating into two different tracks. The sort of everything outside of China, they're trying to replicate the Chinese formula. Not sure that's working. But the other side of it is Second Rodeo is one of the guys who was in Content London showcasing what he was doing. Scott Brown, who's the founder of that company. He comes from good old world, filmmaking, and he's pushing the budgets up slightly. He's getting slightly sort of a higher quality sort of script. He's getting a slightly different audience, but the budgets are slightly eking up into the 350 mark. And they're doing something different. It's not just a translation of the Chinese formula or the Korean formula. So I'm following that track and wondering whether or not there's something interesting there. And in addition to the gaming community, there was one company there called UDev, and they've come from the gaming world and moving across to test sports, other genres that are outside of just a romantic. They're also testing sort of crime, thrillers and so on. I think that could be interesting area to watch. And I am staggered by the retention mechanisms. It's free for up to 10 episodes, and then all of a sudden the paywall. I've seen people paying $150 to $200 per month in the US. It's staggering, but we have to figure out whether or not this is sustainable and the economics are sustainable. But I do like that angle. I like the gaming companies coming in and playing with that sort of retention hooks and dynamics of moving from free to paid. But we'll see. Yeah, it's fun to watch. Yeah.
I must give it a go. That sounds good. Great detail on that, and we'll see. Slight difference of opinion. We are like that. We prefer a out and out war, but a slight difference of opinion is perfectly acceptable as well. That was in the news. And finally, and possibly most animatedly, we're on to Podmojis. Podmojis on video. Will the two competitors have made an extra effort with their props this time, or will they not have? The fact that Maureen is moving around is quite a good sign, I'd say. And Claire is looking sheepish. Claire is looking enigmatic. What's French for enigmatic? Is it enigmatique? Or is there a word for enigmatic in French? There's probably 7 words for it. Anyway, you're looking at it. So we're going to start off with Claire, CT, Claire, in my notes. So A24 we spoke about, production company. So this Ping Pong Spectacular, which apparently, like a lot of films which sound like they're going to be really weird and unwatchable, are really good, called Marty Supreme. And you're very impressed with the campaign that they have run in order to promote this film.
Yes, so Marty Supreme, 1970s sports drama about table tennis with Timothée Chalamet, which was directed by Josh Safdie and is going to premiere on Christmas Day 2025. It's being released by A24, as you mentioned, which we've talked about. A24, famous for its shepherding of auteur movies, but also for their innovative campaigns. And they've really surpassed themselves with Marty Supreme. This starts, if you can look it up, by a 18 minutes fake Zoom discussion between fake advertising and marketing campaign and Timothée Chalamet playing himself, explaining his ideas, including flying an orange blimp over New York, which they actually then did. They've also launched, so watch some of the Zoom video. It's quite funny. They then created a Marty Supreme windbreaker, which they launched in their own shop, which is doing very well. They have, continuously worked on a number of different real life elements. So there's a soundtrack, there's a branded table tennis event, and they are putting their brand, A24, front and center of it just to give it that legitimacy. And they're putting Timothée Chalamet, who is putting himself absolutely front and center. They're very much leaning into this concept, very much wearing the merch, posting the merch, being everywhere in terms of, Q&A, sharing anecdotes. He's done a really, really good job of keeping the film in conversation. So it really is an impressive campaign. I don't know if the movie is any good, but they've worked very hard on the campaign, and that I would be very surprised if Chalamet doesn't get an Oscar nomination for it based on this campaign, and he may even win it, which he really, really wants. So I hope for him. I hope little Timmy wins it. And so my Podmoji, now hold on to your horses, because look at that. Great idea.
Put it above your head.
Oh, that is special.
It's very good. It is what I had lying around, but it's a light bulb. I can't have it light up because I can't plug it into anything. But imagine it lighting up for a brilliant idea. That's mine.
That's not bad. Notable improvement on last week and the subsequent consequential amount of points. Maureen.
Oh, how can I follow that? Okay. Bring it on, Claire.
Yay.
Bring it on, Claire. Bring it on.
Bring it on. Good.
All right. So I think A24 keeps proving that modern marketing isn't about scale. It's about shareability. And Marty Supreme is basically the cinematic equivalent of a limited edition sneaker. So I think it's brilliant. I love this. I love this story, and I hope, Tim, I hope you get the Oscar. You deserve it.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, that does sound ingenious. Well done. Good crossover and merch and stuff like that. We all like that. Excellent. Good. Lovely Podmojis. The next one. Oh, yes. I think it's probably up to you, Maureen, to reveal and Podmojize on the presumably Oxford Dictionary, word of the year, which is actually more than one word, in fact.
Yeah, and if you were listening carefully earlier to Claire's fantastic opening piece today, you would know what the Oxford word of the year is. It's rage bait.
Of course it
Yay!
is.
Yay! Oh, drum roll. Oh, with an aggression. But that's not my Podmoji. My Podmoji is drum roll.
Letters again.
P.
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 P. Pink P.
Did you ever
See a
watch
doctor.
Did you ever watch Blockbusters?
Oh yeah.
The
Yeah, and
hexagon.
it always says the hexagon. He always says "P, please, Bob." So it's all about
Yeah.
words.
Oh, that
It's all
was
about
a
words. And
student
"P,
joke,
please,
wasn't
Bob"
it?
was an
Yeah.
in joke, exactly. Anyway, back to rage bait. So look, of course, we're in an era now where content ecosystems are engineered to provoke micro outrage at volume, and that's what this is all about. We get rage bait, and of course Quentin Tarantino is probably going to be in our top list this week for that very same point, which I'm not going to mention yet because Claire, I'm going to hand it back to Claire. But there's nothing else to say apart from every year Oxford decides on a phrase or a word, and rage bait is it for 2025.
Indeed. Claire? Claire, of course you must have a go.
I have an emoji. Look, it's this. I'm raging.
Oh, yes.
I think it's a very good word. This was me raging. For those of you who are not yet watching us on YouTube,
That's 50% of you. Yeah.
I think it's a great word, and I think it's a terrible word at the same time, because I think it's very sad that we are in this world. But it's not just online; it's all the major newspapers these days. Everything is rage baiting, which is very frustrating. So let's make it word of the year, and then let's stop doing it. Perhaps, maybe.
It's just a moment in time. I guess it's like the John Lewis Christmas advert was the thing we all waited for, and now it's what our age is on Spotify. Spotify Rap we all waited for. That's the Christmas moment. We used to with the Queen's speech. Well, happier days, a simpler time in many ways. Thank you very much. We have one more.
What did you say your age was again?
My actual age is undisclosed.
48
is my
48.
Spotify age. Thank you, Fontaine PC, for bringing me down a few years there and counteracting my Pink Floyd. So we talked about him already, but Quentin Tarantino, he's been opening his gob in maybe a rage baity way. Let's see. We'll start with Claire. This one's that we start with you. Quentin Tarantino and his opinions.
Yeah, I mean, this is classic rage baiting. I think it works really well. So he decided that there were three actors he really hated. Paul Dano, who he calls a weak, uninteresting guy. He also decided that he really hated Owen Wilson and Matthew Lillard. I mean, fine. The entire Hollywood community stood up in defense of these three actors, who are absolutely fine, and there's nothing wrong with them. I quite like them all. There was no reason for this outburst except he's Quentin Tarantino, and he also is, he knows that this is going to get him headline. Everybody's going to talk about it. So I have a look at me. I have a Podmoji. I have a prop. It's a clock.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm going to say your 5 minutes are up, Quentin. I think that's really good. I feel like I should win this year. This week.
This week.
Only
this week. Sorry.
Yeah,
only this week.
Very much ahead. It's
you are very much
ahead.
ahead.
Comeback from Maureen, yeah. Well, let's see if that comeback can happen, like Leeds against Liverpool. Yeah.
Are you likening me to Leeds? Aren't they just like a really bad team?
Yes.
Oh,
they fought back remarkably against Liverpool recently.
They're not that bad.
Lucky Northerners, which is exactly what I would associate with. Anyway, here we go.
All right. So Tarantino, you give us a movie every decade, but you're bloody giving us a quote, every 6 months, and then the internet blows up, So no more. No more. No more.
Oh, well, that is amazing. Well, what a comeback from Maureen there. I just got to go upstairs to this one, to VAR. She's done it. She's done a Leeds. It's a draw. 3.3 points each.
That was lucky.
Goodness
that was
me.
very
well,
lucky.
I mean, you
that was
came back.
Good recovery. I have to. Okay. Let's shake hands. Let's shake hands across the.
Yeah, and just the Podmojis was the winner on the day. You know, the game was the winner. That's what I
Okay,
say.
that's
Congratulations.
exactly. You were the winner, Oliver, as you always are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yes, I'll take it. Right, I'll take it with much more grace than my age, than my Spotify Wrapped age. That's it. We've come to the end, bang on time, if there is such a thing as on time in the crazy creative world of what we do here, podcasts. And it's been a pleasure. Great deep dive. Everything was perfection as ever. Maureen, I'm afraid to say goodbye to you for now.
Oh, yes. Goodbye to both of you and to our audience.
Our ever-growing video audience, appreciating the beauty they see before them. Claire, goodbye to you.
Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye, Maureen. Goodbye, everyone. I feel like the CBeebies presenter.
Yes, that's right. This podcast is brought to you by the letters N and O in a Sesame Street style. And from me, until next time, bye bye.